talk about one of the most common beginners painting mistakes that I see, and a few of the things that I think cause this. One of the most common beginners painting mistakes is wanting to finish one piece of a painting before moving on to another piece of the painting. That they will finish one little piece, like one item in the painting, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And what this usually results in is a painting that looks very disjointed, that the items don't quite look like they belong in the same place. I think there are multiple things that contribute to people approaching painting in this way, but I think one of the biggest ones is, whether consciously or not, beginning painters want to avoid the ugly stage. Now, I see a lot of my friends, painters and artists on social media joke about the ugly stage because it happens in most pieces of artwork when you are developing it as a whole instead of piece by piece. In my observation, the ugly stage tends to happen when you have a lot of shapes and colors starting to be established in your painting or whatever you're working on, but they haven't really been refined yet, so it looks really messy. But you're probably going to have this ugly stage of your painting if you're developing your painting as a whole, instead of trying to make one piece of it look good before you move on and do anything else. But when you treat your painting as a whole, you develop the whole thing together, it's going to end up looking more unified because that's the way you're approaching it. I think there's also other reasons that people want to work on a painting piece by piece. I think that some people just really want to be able to check things off and feel like they're approaching it in an organized way, which I would just suggest that they shift to, moving through values and then refining colors and then finding shadows and then finding highlights. So shift to a different kind of list. I also think that bad art instruction also contributes to people approaching painting or drawing in this way. I see a lot of drawing tutorials, for example, that say, draw this piece and then add this piece to it and then add this piece to it. And it's like, that's not really how someone who is developing a drawing from an idea or from observation is going to approach it and successfully get accurate proportions. I will acknowledge occasionally you are able to come across a painter who is able to make the piece by piece approach more or less work and look okay in the end. I also suspect that the people who are able to pull this off are more likely to have hyperphantasia, to be able to hold a lot of visual information in their mind and not need to see it in front of them to be able to tell if it's working. Again, that's just speculation on my part, but I suspect that's the case. But if you don't have hyperphantasia, if you can't hold highly detailed imagery in your head, you need to develop it in front of you to be able to see if it's working.